day, so a good 6-hour flight.
Lucifer, 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 Lucifer,
and a friend had texted me, said you should check out a game. It's this game that he told me to check out, a game called Flappy Bird. And I downloaded this game on the runway, and I remember as we took off, I started playing. And I had grand designs of doing work, having a good nap, having some food. And I spent 6 hours playing this game, so that by the time we landed, I had done absolutely none of the stuff I was planning to do. And I remember landing, and the guy next to me actually turned to me and said, "Are you okay?" Because I kind of sat there just tapping the screen like a maniac for 6 hours. And I remember thinking, this is not good. If I'm a reasonably high-functioning individual, and 6 hours just melted away. Now, you blow that up to a lifetime. We're spending like 15 or 20 years behind these screens. And so the question is, are we doing it in a way that's good for us, or is it not good for us? And so that's what inspired me to research this and to write about it, to try to get a sense of what I think of as the single biggest change in the way we live as a planet in the last 20 years. And trying to get a sense of whether that's been mostly good, mostly bad, somewhere in the middle, of at least, pushing the people to think more about this thing that's occupying so much of their time, because that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to understand better. It's fine if you're going to spend one flight doing the wrong thing for 6 hours if you have other plans, but expand that to the lifespan, talking about 80 years or so. I think it's going to have a huge effect on the way we live, and so I wanted to understand it more deeply.
There was which was the game that you wrote about where the maker of the game, even though it was hugely successful, decided to delete it?
Yeah, that's the one that I started playing.
That was Flappy Bird? Yeah.
Flappy Bird. He removed it from the market. It was an incredible thing. This guy was making an absolute killing. At its peak, he was making, I think it was something like tens or even hundreds of thousands of dollars a day in ad revenue, which, for an indie game developer, you create this game, it's kind of a move of passion more than anything. You just enjoy pouring your artistic talents into making this game. You don't expect to make tons of money, but the guy was making a killing. And, rare in this industry, and I think rare in any commercial industry, he had a conscience, and he basically said, I feel terrible about this, and removed it from the market. And people reached out. It was almost like he'd taken a drug away from drug users, because he removed it from the market. And a lot of them responded and said, can you just give me a copy on the side? And he was pretty firm about it. He said no.
Wow. So what is so uniquely addictive about that one game? I know there's games like Candy Crush that are uniquely addictive, and Subway Surfers, my wife's addicted to that game. What is it about Flappy Bird that's uniquely addictive?
I'll tell you the thing for me that was addictive. It was incredibly simple to play. Everything about it was incredibly straightforward. There was a clear objective, and you could see the little points tick upwards. So what you have to do, for anyone who hasn't played the game, it's so simple. It's just a bird who has to fly through obstacles. It's just mindless. But one of the things that I think made it so hard for me to stop playing was that, if you think about games in the 80s, the 90s, you'd end a game and you'd get this little game over screen, and then you'd have to push a button to keep playing. And so each time that happened, that was a little prompt that maybe you want to get on with your life, go do something else. The thing about Flappy Bird is the bird, when he crashes, he just automatically reanimates and he starts flying again. And it almost feels rude to the bird at that point to say, I'm not going to keep playing. So I felt like, look, we're 2 hours into the flight, 3 hours into the flight, but that bird just never stops flying. And I don't want to be the guy who just says it's game over, bird. And that's how, it's an exaggeration, it's a bit silly, but it's really how it felt in the moment. And I think this is something that a lot of the screen experiences we have as a feature now, that the companies that have produced the products that we're using have systematically gone through their products to remove those little cues that would have said to us, it's time to move on. So the maker of video games now doesn't have a big game over screen. The game just kind of keeps rolling on. And if you do that, you short-circuit one of the things that pushes people away from what they're doing onto the next thing. And we call these stopping cues. And if you think about the bottomlessness of social media feeds, they were not bottomless when they were first designed and released. So when Facebook first came out, you had to click a little button at the bottom of the page that said load more. And that's not true anymore. Things just spool and spool and spool. And so there's no bottom to them. And as a result of that, we've short-circuited that little nudge that used to say, okay, move on. And that was true of Flappy Bird, and that's what made it so hard for me to resist it at the time.
The stopping cues or starting cues, that's one of the features that people find uniquely addictive about TikTok. because TikTok videos play immediately. I've never used TikTok, but when I was talking to Tristan Harris, he was saying that that's one of the things about it that really hooks people right away. You open up the app and it just starts playing. You don't have to click on anything. You don't have to touch it. It just immediately starts playing videos for you.
Yeah, it's true on most of the video playing platforms now. TikTok's certainly true. It's true about Netflix. They're all just designed to autoplay, and so that's removing one of the decision points that might have stopped people from engaging. And as a result, we're just kind of automatically right in there. You know, you basically want to take people from not being in an experience to being deeply immersed in it as quickly as possible. And the more quickly you can do that, the more likely they are to just find themselves kind of entranced by that process. So a lot like playing a slot machine. If you gamble and you sit in front of that machine, I mean, it takes only a couple of minutes for the well-designed ones to hook you, and suddenly you're in a trance and you're generally losing a lot of money, and suddenly an hour's gone by, 2 hours. There are no clocks. They don't tell you that it's time to move on. There's no sense of daylight. You know, it could be the third sunrise. You wouldn't have any idea that's happening. And that's all by design.
Jamie just pulled up a statistic about Flappy Bird, and the phones that still have it now are on sale on eBay. Flappy Bird equipped iPhones are listed for $1,000 to $10,000 on eBay, with a few priced above $50,000. An iPhone 5S with the app sold for $10,100. An iPad Air listed at over $80,000 has received multiple bids. eBay nixed the auction of a Flappy Bird equipped iPhone as it neared $100,000, the LA Times reports. $100,000. $100,000 for a regular phone or a regular iPad that has this stupid game on it. That's how addicted people are.
Yeah, you should check out some of the reviews of it. It's pretty entertaining, actually, because these people, they have such a love-hate relationship with it. These are reviews written around the time it was released in 2014. And you'll see these reviews that give it a 5-star rating, and then they say next to it, this game will be the death of me. It's like they have this perfect kind of addictive relationship with it. And they talk about, this one guy was like, I've lost all my friends. And it's so dumb because it's this bird who's flying around. I mean, it's the most trivial, silly thing. And yet the experience is compelling enough that it has that effect on people. You know, it's until you've played it, it also sounds silly.
Thank you, God, for sending me the PS5 today, man. God sent me a PS5 today, man. Thank you, God. And I gave away my PS5 to the NAACP to give away to the kids in the community, man. But yeah, we still playing PS4, man, because we just gave away the free PS5 that God sent me. I sent it on to the young black youth down on Martin Luther King Street, like the true saint that I am. Young Camel told the saint, man, need no contraband, man. But next time God sends me a PS5, we'll see what happens, man. Cause God's always sending me PlayStation 5s, man. Me and God had a contract. He was like, I'm gonna make you born, and when you born, I'm gonna just keep sending you PlayStations, man. No matter if it's PS4, PS3, PS2, PS6, man. He be, in the future, man, he be sending me PS9s and shit, Shouts out to God, man. Thank you for the $666 that I made today, man. I'm so thankful. I am so happy and grateful now that money comes to me in increasing quantities through multiple sources on a continuous basis. I am so happy and grateful now that money comes to me in increasing quantities through multiple sources on a continuous basis. I really thought the hole was a part of your sweater for a minute. Laugh out loud. Your sweater keeps reminding me of Midnight Marauders album cover. You should have kept it. 20D for real. God has given me everything, man. Green beans. What are we watching? We're just waiting. Exactly. You getting the PS5? Yeah, I got the PS5, man. But I just sent it off to the NAACP, man. Just gave some kids a PS5. I am loved. I am loved. What am I playing, man? We playing the new Young Camel Toe the God video game, man. It's called Young Camel Toe the God, man. It's now on PlayStation 6 and PlayStation 4. Thoughts on Xbox? Xbox is amazing, man. God said he was going to send me an Xbox Series S next week. He said he was going to send me an Xbox Series S. When God sends me the Xbox Series S, man, I'm going to tell you how it is, man. Honestly, though, I think the Xbox Series S and the PS5 is the same shit, man. You better off just getting you a Series S, man. They out here on OfferUp, man. I know niggas is selling them for like $250, man. They stealing them off the truck and they selling them on motherfucking what you call that shit? They selling it on what's that one? OfferUp. There you go. This one nigga hit me the other day. Like, hey man, you trying to get a Xbox Series S? I was like, you know what? I'm gonna just wait for God, cause you know God gonna send me my Series S. But go ahead, man. Drop that $250 on the Series S, man. That sweater must be clean by now. You right. Bump that Mika 9. Oh man, am I tired of working out already? No. Hey, Young Camel Toe, man. Hey, we just hit 1 million subscribers on YouTube, man. We did it while playing video games and lifting Budweiser cans, man. That's all we did, man. Hey, if you a kid out there trying to be like Young Camel Toe, man, you could do it too, man. What you making on next gen in 2K? The same shit I make every year, man. I ain't never made another build in my life, man. Every year, man, I'm a stretch 4. Every year, man. Since 2K91, I've been a stretch big, boy. Since 2K 1966, man. I've been a 7 foot, 222 pound stretch big, stretch god. I don't put no stats on any of my finishing. All my stats go on my playmaking, shooting, and defense, man. Cause fuck a layup, nigga. It's the Warriors out here. We don't do layups, nigga. The sweater must be so cool. Yeah, man. This is the coolest sweater in the Himalayas, player. You said I look like Q-Tip. You right. Have a Flappy Bird Day. Hey, man, you have a Flappy Bird Day. Who's my next guest? Old Camel Toe. Gonna be on the Young Camel Toe YouTube, man. That's my next guest. It's like heaven. I know Young Camel Toe is heaven, man. No, I'm happy. I'm abundant. I am rich. I am God. I am love. Today I'm gonna shine. I can get through this amazing type of day. Possibilities are endless. Time to relax. Chilling in LA. Ooh, he hit those, boy. Hey, we just hit 1 million subscribers. What's up, Random Interest? Thanks for the subscription. What's up? What's up, man? Hey, you live on my YouTube, man. Tell them how you feel today. Hey, shout out your Instagram, man. Get your followers up. We on YouTube, boy. He's Young Camel Toe. Hey, we got margaritas on stream, baby. Margaritas on stream, baby. pussy that I got last night. I am thankful for the pussy that I got last night. Thank you. I got some pussy last night. I got some pussy last night. Thank God. Thank God. Thank God. Thank God. I am grateful for the love that I feel right now. I am thankful for the money that I have right now. I'm telling you, man, you're gonna like that Micah, man. Check it out. Alright, man. I am thankful for the love right now. I am thankful for myself that I love right now. Thank you, God. I am thankful for the pussy that I got last night. I am thankful for the pussy that I got last night. I am thankful for the pussy that I got last night. Thank you, thank you. I am thankful every day. Shine your blessings on young camel toe, young camel toe, young camel toe, young camel toe. I am thankful for the pussy that I got last night. I am thankful for the pussy that I got last night. Thank you. I got some pussy last night. I got some pussy last night. Thank God. Thank God. Thank God. Thank God. I am grateful for the love that I love right now. I am grateful for the money that I have right now. He Ooh, we just hit 1 million subscribers on YouTube. Shouts out Young Camel Toe, man. The greatest player ever. She's sucking on my dick and she don't even like me. I like that. I like that. Oh, we just sipping a margarita, man. This is a big old margarita, boy. Oh, I ain't driving today. You said I know her baby daddy wanna fight me, but I don't got that bitch on me if he try me. He's sucking on my dick and she ain't even like me. Hell yeah, hey, I'm moving to Cali in December, man. Congratulations, man. Welcome to the big leagues, man. Welcome to the big leagues, man. I'm out here still swinging my swing, man. Young Camel Toe is immortal, dog. Oh, shit. Young Camel Toe, I am immortal. Oh, man, this is fire, man. Yeah, man. Hit me when you're out here, man. Bon appetit, dog. Nah, man, I live in Mid-City now. Mid-City's where it's at, boy. Mid-City to the day I die, boy. K-Town, do not move to K-Town, bro. That place is horrible. There's too many niggas, man. Too many niggas. It's overcrowded, man. Ain't no parking. Ain't no nothing in K-Town. I had to move. Okay, Long Beach. Long Beach is cool. Long Beach, you know. Long Beach is a spot. Nah, man. Only game I play is 2K, man. He said Compton got hoes. That is not that is not where you want to go collect your hoes, my friend. That is not. No. Mm-mm. West Hollywood got hoes. Downtown Los Angeles got hoes. Compton got ratchets. I don't fuck with ratchets no more, man. I turned in my ratchet card, man. I turned in my ratchet card back in 2011. I ain't fucking nope. Now hoes is in downtown LA, West Hollywood. Silver Lake got hoes. Echo Park, that's where the hoes is at. Hollywood got hoes. If you want to see ho 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 Merry Christmas, man, go to Hollywood. But West Hollywood specifically, West Hollywood got the baddest hoes. Compton hoes, no. That's how you get shot. Do not fuck with Compton hoes. Nope. Last Compton hoe I fucked with, her name was Paris. She lived on a street called the Jungle. That's it. I don't want to incriminate myself. Nope. I ain't going to Compton. I ain't going to Inglewood. I'm not going to Watts. No, Inglewood, once again, Inglewood does not have hoes. No. No. Inglewood's better than Compton, though. If you gonna choose one of the two, go to Inglewood. Because they nicer out there. And some of them got money. But Compton hoes? No. Nope. Them days over. Ooh, yeah. Exactly. We don't do hood rats no more, man. We're too old for all that, man. I feel like after you hit 22 years old, man, 22, no more ratchets, man. 22, man. After 18, 19, go ahead, get you some ratchets, man. Once you hit 22 years old, man, you gotta end that. That's how you fuck around and get 6 baby mamas. Nope. If you fucking a chick and you know she gonna keep the kid, just leave. You need a chick who got it made so much that she not trying to have a chick with you. That's what you want. When the chick says she don't want to have a kid with you, she the one telling you to wrap it up. That's the chick you want to fuck, man. If she like, oh, you don't gotta use a rubber, I ain't tripping. Don't do it. That's a ratchet, man. It's a ratchet. That's all you gonna find in Compton, man. You gonna find hoes looking for a meal ticket, man. Pay for this, take me to the mall, all that. I ain't doing shit. Go ask Gucci, man.
when I landed, after 6 hours of playing it straight, I remember just being like, what just happened? That makes no sense at all. It's a very powerful experience.
I had a serious addiction to a game called Quake for years. The first-person shooter. I had a real problem, like 8 to 10 hours every day. I had a T1 line installed in my house so that I could play it. I was gone. And one day I just shut it off. I just stopped playing. I couldn't do it. I realized what was going on. I was tired all the time. I was playing till like 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning and then sleeping till like noon and then playing it again. It was really bad. And it's a game that is uniquely addictive because it's so immersive. It's a 3D experience. The sound is 3D, and it's very competitive too. So you could hop online, and you're constantly playing with these other people all over the world, really, in these servers. And there's a lot of people that lose their life to these games, and that's not as addictive as apparently World of Warcraft. Is that one of the things that you were saying is the most addictive game?
Yeah, I mean, it's been labeled the most addictive experience we can have, or we have had, that doesn't involve a substance. And
really?
Based on the numbers, based on just the numbers of players, it's not at its peak anymore. It's been eclipsed by some other experiences. But at its peak, I mean, it had tens of millions of users, and they were playing for hours and hours and hours a day. People just foregoing sleep to play in the middle of the night all day. Sometimes, there are stories of people who played so much that they would sit in diapers because they didn't want to have to go to the bathroom.
Oh, my God.
They're just incredibly powerful stuff. Yeah.
And what has eclipsed it?
I think there are just newer experiences like Fortnite. Fortnite's the really big one. That's I don't know if it's surpassed World of Warcraft. I think World of Warcraft was a more kind of colossal experience, disrupted the world of video game playing more profoundly. But there's also been a big shift in the way we play and who plays video games. Historically, video games were, I was like you. For me, it was Doom. I would play Doom for hours and hours and hours a day.
Same developer.
Same developer. Yeah, it just preceded Quake. That was typical of gamers. They were often kind of young males, teenage or adolescent aged or in their early 20s. And that's really shifted with the advent of the iPhone in particular. So because most games now are being played on iPhone screens or on smartphone screens, the biggest demographic of gamers from, I think it was about 2014 or 15 on, became middle-aged women. So it's a big shift in who plays games and spends the most time. It's a big change.
Those are the ones that were yelling at their sons just a couple of decades ago. It was middle-aged women. Get something going with your life. What are you doing? And now they're doing it. When you see these games and you see this massive addiction that human beings have to them, and then you see the technology increasing rapidly, do you anticipate us being in the Matrix in your lifetime?
Yeah, some version of that, I think. What's really smart about the devices we use now, at least from the developer's perspective, is most of us resist the idea of having an implanted tech device. We don't want something implanted in our brains yet. We're still pretty queasy about that idea. But if you ask people, 80% of adults will say that they can reach their phones 24 hours a day without moving their feet. So they're not physically implanted devices, but they're already basically there. And then down the road, if you speak to people who work in virtual and augmented reality industries, they'll tell you, we're only a couple of years away from this being a huge commercial success, where just as we now almost all universally, from quite a young age, walk around with our own personal iPhones and smartphones, we're going to be doing the same, but they're going to be virtual reality glasses. And so you'll be going somewhere, and at any moment in time, instead of deciding whether to live in the moment or pick up your phone, it'll be, do I want to live in this moment or live in an alternate reality where, I can go exactly where I want to go, do the thing I want to do, spend time in a virtual space with exactly who I want to spend time with. I think it's going to be incredibly hard for us to resist the temptation to do that. And that's going to create a literal physical barrier between human beings. I think we're all going to be living in our own little universes eventually if things go the way they've been going.
Well, if I was conspiratorially minded, and I kind of am, but only for fun, I would think that someone has probably set that ball in motion with COVID. With COVID and the lockdown, it's almost like if you wanted to make a movie where artificial intelligence wanted to figure out a way to hook us deeper, artificial intelligence would release a virus. And they would force us to stay inside. It doesn't kill everybody, but it makes people scared, so you stay inside, and it connects you even deeper to computers, and maybe more importantly, separates you even more from the human experience of touching and being around each other in social cues and social gathering. And it makes it even more compelling to do things virtually, more compelling to be on your computer all the time and messing with applications. And then while this is all going on, something far more immersive is released when you're already accustomed to it.
Yeah, I've got to say, I mean, life in the last decade in particular has got way stranger than fiction.
Yeah.
The real world right now, there is so much about it that just seems like it can't be real. You know, if anyone wrote a movie with the script of the last 5 to 10 years...
How about the last 4 here?
Or the last 4. Let's pick the last 4.
Just
people
that.
would say this is it's nonsense. Yeah. Like it's kind of B-grade Hollywood stuff that we're looking at here. But you know, the interesting thing about this pandemic period for me is I think it might have a weird backlash effect where we've all been forced to spend time on screens. It's instead of going to the screen because we love it and we're attracted to social media and whatever other things we're doing on screens, a lot of us are being forced to use them. And one thing that's changed is sentiment towards screens. I think a lot of people are just over it. And so when we are past all of this, I think there's a chance that's going to be the catalyst to push people away from screens a bit. Because if you before this, if you speak to especially younger people, they'll say, and then this is true for me too, I would rather just use the most remote form of communication possible. Whatever's easiest. I don't want to have to speak on the phone. I don't want to have to see people. Let me just send a quick text or an email or a WhatsApp or whatever. And I think there's a shift now where people are like craving that true face-to-face time where you're actually sitting in front of a person having a real conversation. And that's been, I think, a shift in the last roughly 8 or 9 months.
I think there's people like you that are craving the experience of being around other folks, because I think you're aware of the repercussions of this virtual experience that we're all engaging in, and the addiction to screens and screen time and phones and games and applications. But I think there's plenty of folks that are happy to just get lulled to sleep and sucked into it. And I think that's my real concern. My real concern is mindful, thoughtful people like yourself that are saying, listen, we need, just a real experience with human beings, and we're revolting and leaving but if you look at the numbers in terms of human beings, like at the average screen time, all that stuff's going up. The use of these things is all going up. And I think there's folks like you that would like to think that we're rejecting it. But I think it's a minority that's rejecting it. I think the majority are embracing it.
Yeah, I think that may be true. I mean, I think one of the big drivers of screen time is, if you take psychological needs away from people, the things that are really important to them to function psychologically, that's when they turn to screens. That's when they turn to drugs. That's when they turn to alcohol. That's when they turn to all the things that soothe us. And screens do that. They are a kind of a non-substance way to be soothed. That's what happened with me on that flight for 6 hours. That's what happens when you're on social media scrolling mindlessly, when you're watching tons and tons of videos online. All that sort of stuff is a way of soothing you. And I think people need to be soothed more than ever right now, because this is a hard time for a lot of people. It's hard financially. It's hard because you're socially distant from people. It just creates this kind of pall of uncertainty that sits above everything we do. And humans hate.
Rio D, big love.
Hate that. We don't like uncertainty. We don't like not knowing what's coming around the corner. and not just about the pandemic. I mean, politically, in a lot of different ways, there's a lot of uncertainty right now and for the last while. And when you put people in that state, they're going to turn to screens. I don't know if that's an enduring thing, but anytime you rob people of well-being, of some sort of psychological need, they're going to try to find it elsewhere. And one of the ways they do that is, now the easiest way to do it is to turn to a screen.
Have you spent any time at all playing virtual reality games?
It's funny, when I was doing the research for this book, I spoke to a game designer, brilliant guy at NYU. He's in the NYU Game Center named Bennett Foddy. And he teaches game design. He's designed a number of phenomenal games himself. And he told me something that I found fascinating, and I took it on board. He said to me, I asked him about World of Warcraft, and I said, do you enjoy it? What do you think about it? And he said to me, I know that if I start playing that game, I either don't play it at all, or I'm going to basically be giving up years of my life. And I don't have the time to do that. So I just have never even opened the game to play it. It's just not something I want to do. And that's how I have felt about most of those experiences. I did play one virtual reality game. It was with a haptic suit, so it basically fits over you. It was this Ghostbusters game. And I grew up watching Ghostbusters and loved it. So the ghosts fly through you, and you can feel the suit compresses, and so it feels like they're actually kind of butting into you, which maybe doesn't make much sense because they're ghosts. But you fly around with one of the little Ghostbusters guns, and you're in New York City, and you're running around. This was a 10-minute experience, but if you had told me that I could give up the next 48 hours of my life, put on the suit, run around, no food, just do this for 48 hours, it was so incredibly immersive and engaging and interesting, I would have done it. It was amazing. And it wasn't even like, that's not even where we're going with this stuff. This was, step 1 out of step 10 in terms of sophistication. This is the early days. It's only going to get more compelling.
Are you aware of Sandbox? Have you ever heard of the company Sandbox?
No.
Sandbox is it's a virtual reality game destination. So you go to this place, and it's essentially a warehouse. And inside of it, they have these arenas set up for games and a series of games that you play. And I play them with my whole family. We put the haptic feedback suits on, virtual reality helmets, and you kill zombies, you fight off skeletons on a pirate ship. There's a bunch of games, and it is wild. And you see it, and you go, I see where this is going. Like, this is, right now, pretty immersive. Really, really fun, very engaging, exciting to do, but you know for a fact that it's just going to keep getting better and keep getting better. And right now, it's insanely addictive. Like, I get so pumped up to do it. When we do, I'll go with my family every couple of weeks or so, and we get so excited when we're on our way over there. Luckily, it's got a set time. It's a 1-hour experience, and when it's over, it's over. But my God, you're in it. Like, there's one of them where you're in a haunted house and you're fighting off zombies, and they're just running at you, like hundreds of them, and you're gunning them down. It's so exciting. When they get a hold of you, you feel their touch, like in the haptic feedback suit, and you see red in front of your face, like you're getting torn apart. It's wild. And you know that this is essentially like Doom, right? If you play Doom today, the pixels are enormous. It's just like, it looks clunky and squarish and blockish, and I mean, it's fun still, but it's so crude in comparison to a modern game. Where the modern games have, like, there's a new Unreal Engine, and we were playing a video of it the other day because it's so hard to believe that this is just a video game. And in this video game, the lighting and the textures and the shadows are so exact. It's so incredible. And you just have this feeling of inevitability. Like, there's just going to come a time where you're going to be in this virtual reality thing, and you're going to have a whole haptic feedback outfit from your fingers to your toe, face, and it's going to be better than real life, and that's what everyone's terrified of.
Yeah, and I mean, it's hard to avoid that, right? That feeling, that excitement that you have as you're about to play. Imagine if that were always available to you at any moment of the day. It'd be hard to resist it. I felt the same way about that very brief experience with Ghostbusters, that Ghostbusters game. It was just, there was a level of excitement. And, you used to have to kind of suspend disbelief. Like, as you say, with Doom, you'd have the pixels and you'd be like, yeah, it's not quite real, but it's real enough. And then there was this point.
I love money, money loves I. Money falls from me from sky. I'm attracting money. I love money, money loves I. Money falls to me from sky. I am magnet for money. Money comes effortlessly, and he's always there for me. I am grateful for money. Money comes when I go cold. Money bounce like basketball. I find creative ways to make money while I eat my cake. Money, money, it is mine. I eat money with my pie. My and money every day. Thankful for money, oh yay. I'm the master of my wealth. Money's great, just like my health. Money close to me right now. Money bigger than a cow. I'm grateful for my money. I'm grateful for family. Making money is easy. Then I am a Is that an authentic Coogee sweater? Gotta practice that form, bro. Dumbbells African edition. I listen to your music when I work out. Hey, nice. Joe Rogan, let's go. I'm creating wisely. I need God when I go sleep. I'm in money as I live. My wealth grows just like your kids. Everyone give me money. The universe conspiring to make I'm the master. I am rich. I make money. This matrix. Money loves I. Somewhere over the rainbow, way above, there's a land that I heard of once in a lullaby. Somewhere over the rainbow, skies are blue. Love that jumper. You getting PS5? Man, God sent me a PS5, man. Chip Diamond, Ed Bow's Master Sweater, Chip Diamond. Bro, how can anyone afford a Coogee in this economy? Man, God sent me this Coogee, man. Oh, man. Are you getting a PS5, man? When you wish on a star, makes no difference who you are. Anything you desire will come to you. If your heart is hungry, no request is too extreme. When you wish upon a star, as dreamers do, fading time, It seems Despacito. Yes, Despacito it is.
Everything, just the processing speed, the sophistication of the development, the design, you could make it seem basically real, and it's only going to become more so. And so you don't have to suspend disbelief at all. The minute you're in that experience, it's there, it's real. It may as well be real.
What bothers me is people way smarter than me that aren't worried about it. You know, I had John Carmack on the podcast, who I'm a gigantic fan of. You know, he's the guy who created Doom and Quake and engineered those engines. His take on phones was basically, well, people enjoy them and they make life better. And he just doesn't seem to be worried at all. And, you know, obviously he makes games and he's working with Oculus. He was at the time, at least, working with Oculus, making all these games. And he's also a very disciplined person. So he'll code for 16 hours a day, you know, and he plays that, there's the one game where you have the swinging at the air and knocking these things down. What is that game called? Do you know?
I can't remember. I know the game. Yeah, I can't remember what it's called.
Beat Saber. Jamie says Beat Saber. But he does it at an insanely high level, where he's basically getting this wild cardio workout in, like he's doing some sort of stick fighting martial art. You know, he's like swinging his arms back and forth through the air, and he actually gets a cardio workout. Like, you can do that, and there is some benefits to, like, there's a boxing game that you can play on Oculus, or no, HTC Vive I played it on. And when you play this boxing game, you're squaring off against an opponent, and when you get hit, your screen lights up like you got hit in sparring, and you can maneuver around. So it's actually a workout. You actually move around this person coming at you, and they turn with you to try to meet you. They know where you're standing, and they swing at you, and you can do certain things where it's actually beneficial. You can get some exercise. I've seen some of them, they're in engineering now with omnidirectional treadmills. So you have a harness around your waist. You're connected in position on this omnidirectional treadmill, so you can go any way you want, and you're running and you're shooting at things and running, and you get this great workout while you're having fun. So it's not all doom and gloom.
No, I totally agree. I think there's a temptation to fall on one end of the spectrum or the other, and I don't think that makes sense. As with most issues in life, you know, there's some nuance that's got to come in. So there are people who will just talk about, you know, screens are going to be the end of the world, and then there are people who will say there's absolutely no problem and everything we're doing is good for us and healthy and making the world better. And the truth is somewhere in the middle. And I think it also varies by the person and what kind of experiences you're having. If you're someone who was sedentary, you weren't working out, you weren't moving, and suddenly you find this game that encourages you to run and move around, that's got to have some beneficial effects. If you're someone who's unnaturally disciplined, like John Carmack, then great. Then you're able to say, I'm going to take the best from screens and I'm going to resist the worst, and I'm just going to move on with my life. But the data don't lie, and the data suggests that the amount of time we're spending in front of screens has gone up dramatically. And when you speak to people about it, they don't say, I'm happy about that. They say, what is going on? Where is all that time going?
Yeah.
So that to me is the most compelling thing, that we want to try to work out, how do we extract the best and leave behind the worst? With screens, with any kind of technology, with any kind of shift in the world, you always want to try to do that across the population. Find the stuff that's damaging, weed it out, and find the stuff that's useful and try to capitalize on it and emphasize that. And I think that's what this project is all about. It's about certainly not throwing out the baby with the bathwater and not trying to roll back to the 1950s here. We want to retain the screens, but work out the best way to use them and the best way for us to resist them when we need to do that.
Yeah, these Dance Dance Revolution people, they figured out a way how to get something positive out of a video game, right? There's a lot of people that played that game that lost a ton of weight. So that there are some things that you could say would be beneficial, because the game is addictive, but while it's addictive, you're also getting in shape.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's a good example. So there's the physical side of it, and then of course, like the mental experience of being on screens can be very, very positive for us too. You're learning languages that you wouldn't have otherwise been able to learn. You're being exposed to people and experiences that you couldn't either experience because you live far away from.
Waheguru, 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 Waheguru. Waheguru, 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 Waheguru. What's happening? It's your boy Young Camel till we live on YouTube. Waheguru, 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 Waheguru.
From them. I moved to the US in 2004 from Australia, and it's hard to believe. It's only 16 years ago, but this is before YouTube. This is the same year that Facebook came about. I couldn't really find a good enough internet connection to be able to speak with video to my family in Australia, and that only came a couple of years later. So that's a miracle that during this time of lockdown, when we're all so far apart from each other, we are able to actually communicate through these screens in a way that's basically seamless.
Do you worry when you're researching this and you're spending all this time working on this subject and you accumulate all this data and you look at the big picture and you look at where this is going, do you think that we are on our way to being obsolete, that human beings are going to be either replaced or we're going to have some sort of a very bizarre symbiotic relationship with electronics where we're not what we think of as people right now?
I don't worry about humans being replaced as much as I worry about humans becoming just isolated entities. Like, I think humans, for all of evolutionary history, have always been in groups, in tribes. They've had to come together. They've relied on each other. They've formed coalitions.
Vaheguru, 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 Vaheguru. Vaheguru, 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 Vaheguru. Hope you're doing well too, man.
I worry that the way we get most of the psychological needs met, the psychological nourishment, it used to require getting together as a species, coming together in certain ways. And I think when you can get so much of what you need from a device that you strap onto your face that basically separates you from everyone else around you, I do worry about that. And I also think there are certain critical periods in maturation and development for kids when they learn how to interact with other people. They learn how to, work out the difference between someone being angry and someone being afraid. They work out, if you take another kid's toy, the kid's going to bop you on the head and say, that's not okay. You've got to learn that stuff through trial and error. And I think because kids are placed in front of screens at such a young age, many of them, and because these devices are going to remove us from the contact with other people, I just think we're becoming a much more isolated species. We used to call humans the social animal. That's still true for sure, but it's kind of an impoverished, stripped down version of what it means to be social if you compare it to even 20 years ago.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about when I'm talking about us being almost obsolete, is that I worry about the advent of AI, and I worry about things like Neuralink, where you're increasing the bandwidth that human beings have to access information. And I'm not exactly sure what kind of effect that's going to have on human beings, but I'm positive that whatever effect it initially has is going to exponentially increase over the next few decades. And then I'm worried that, like you said, most people's phone is never more than a hand, like an arm's reach away. You wake up in the morning, it's right there by your bedside. People are always constantly checking their pockets when they get up from the dinner table. They always want to have their phone. How long before we let them stick that thing in us? How long before you have a chip that sits in your arm, or something real simple that just goes under your skin in a very easy way and it's not very painful, but you have some access to everything that you want, and then slowly but surely we start replacing body parts. I mean, I'm genuine. I know it sounds science fiction-y and ridiculous, but I'm genuinely worried that what we think of as human beings now, this is like a legacy version of human beings, and that 20, 30 years from now, it's going to be obsolete.
Right. I mean, just go back 20 years. Imagine you could go back to the year 2000 and speak to people and say, hey, you're going to go to the restaurant and everyone's going to be sitting isolated looking at a small device. And then they're going to go home and they're going to spend 4 hours looking at that device. And then they're going to wake up in the morning and look at that device. I've been asking this question of thousands of people. I basically asked them from age 13 up to people in their 90s. Would you rather now have your phone broken so you can have your phone shattered in front of you, or would you rather have a broken bone in your finger? And older adults say, I would rather have a broken phone. But if you ask teens and adolescents, about half of them say, well, they want to bargain with you first. They're like, when I've broken my hand, can I still swipe my phone? But a lot of them will say, I would rather have a broken bone in my hand than a broken phone. Now, imagine going back 20 years and saying to people, there's going to be this little device, and people are going to be willing to have body parts broken to preserve the integrity of that device. And it's going to be worth only a few $100. People are going to say that. People would say that's crazy. And I think this has been like a long 20-year process of desensitization. Yeah. The stuff that we're willing to do now, we're willing to give up 4, 5, 6, 10 hours of our days to screen experiences that at the end of the day we look back and say, man, I didn't really want some of those experiences. That wasn't good for me. I don't feel happier or better off. So you extrapolate, you look forward. I mean, this is the beginning of an incredibly long road or a tall mountain. We're just at the very base and we're moving upward. And that's why talking about VR and AR and Neuralink and all of the kind of, augmented reality, artificial intelligence that's around the corner, all of that stuff.
JRE.
We're going to look back at this and this is going to look quaint today. In the same way that looking at people watching TVs in the 50s, looking at that little square wooden box looks quaint. We're there. It feels like we're at some destination, but we're on the road, and it's still very early on that road. And this is one of the really important reasons, I think, for thinking so carefully about this stuff. Because if we don't think about it now, if we don't think about how to manage it in our own lives, it's going to affect us as individuals and in our small communities. But I think it's going to affect the whole planet on some level. So it's really important to at least be mindful about the choices we're making.
I agree with you every step of the way, but my concern is that it doesn't matter what we're saying here. That this is like we are like holding 1,000 bison as they run towards the cliff. We're like, guys, this is a cliff. guys behind me, and they're just pushing us back, and we can't stop it. That's what it seems like to me. I agree with everything you're saying, and I bet this is going to resonate with all the people that are listening and watching this right now. They're going to go, yeah, it makes a good point. And then they're going to grab their phone and go, oh, who's calling me? Who's texting me? What's this? What's that? And they're going to get sucked right back into it.
Yeah, they will, and this is the kind of eternal problem with this, that we are up again. I'm sure.
Vaheguru, 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 Vaheguru. Vaheguru, 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 Vaheguru. Vaheguru, 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 Vaheguru. Vaheguru, 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 Vaheguru. Vaheguru, 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 Vaheguru. Vaheguru, 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 Vaheguru. Vaheguru, Waheguru, 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 Waheguru. Waheguru, 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 Waheguru. Waheguru, 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 Waheguru. Waheguru, 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 Waheguru.
Riddick got rid of the Snack Award. Oh no.
Waheguru, 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 Waheguru. Waheguru, 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 Waheguru,
Laugh out loud, young camel toe.
Waheguru, 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 Waheguru. Waheguru, 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 Waheguru. Waheguru, 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 Waheguru. Waheguru, 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 Waheguru.
Tristan Harris said this to you the other day, that we're up against very powerful, impressive foes, and they know all the right buttons to push, and if they don't know, they'll collect data to be able to answer that question, and then they'll institute those practices in their products, and they'll put those features into their products that seem most capable of bypassing our resistance.
Yeah.
But I do think I'm a little bit hopeful. I'm hopeful because a lot of this is going to depend on I think two things. There are kind of top-down influences and bottom-up influences. The bottom-up is grassroots. The fact that we're talking about this is a big step forward from where we were just 3 or 4 years ago. So in 2014, I was preparing to write this book, and some of the people I spoke to about it said, this is a storm in a teacup. No one cares about screens. They're all good. There's nothing to worry about. They were already doing a lot of the same things they're doing now. We just weren't really sensitive to those issues. Now, between 2014 and 2017, when the book actually came out, sentiment swung dramatically. Suddenly, I'd say millions and millions of people started to care about this issue. And now it's many, many millions, maybe even billions of people who are really paying attention to it. So it's good that at least awareness is there. That's something. That's the first step. And then the top-down influence is, can you shape how companies use email? Like if you can get a lot of the biggest companies to start saying, hey, you know what, email is kind of destroying the lives of our workers. Maybe we're going to try to institute a policy where when they go on vacation, they absolutely don't have to check email. There are these companies in Germany in particular and other parts of Europe that have this vacation policy where when you go on vacation, every email that comes into your inbox is automatically deleted. So your inbox, the way it looked the day you went on vacation, does not change until you get back from your vacation. So you don't need to check it while you're away. And so that's the top-down influence. And then, the question about whether, it's a really, really hot-button issue. Should governments intervene? Should they start changing the way tech companies operate? Should they legislate how we use these products? For very understandable reasons. I think a lot of people bristle at the idea that government should get involved. But these are questions. They're open questions. And some of the countries around the world have said, yeah, governments should probably get involved. It's not going to fix itself, and it's not going to be fixed by grassroots pressure, by consumer